Hello, Wagwan, Happy New Year, and welcome to episode 17 of Design to Win. I'm your host, Ruth Taylor, and this is a program where we give you the roadmap to win at life with a little Caribbean flavor. Coming up in today's show, we're going to be talking about working online and winning, how to achieve success despite the odds. And today my guest is Racquel Newman, also known as the Albino Marketer. You don't want to miss this segment, so stay tuned. Racquel Newman is a certified business consultant and digital marketing expert specializing in email marketing. She's the creator of the Albino Marketer, a woman with albinism who has endured multiple struggles and setbacks in order to get where she's at today. For more than 5 years, she has been helping her clients to grow their business by using proven digital marketing strategies and tools to increase their qualified leads and nurture them into paying customers. Raquel has worked with notable companies such as ClickFunnels as their data analyst specialist and the podcatcher platform Player FM. One of her greatest gifts is being able to look at her client's business and guide them to their desired outcome while making sure that they are not overwhelmed by the sea of products and services that could solve their issues. She helps her clients to get clear on the right strategy for them. Raquel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay. The book that you have coming out is called The Albino Marketer, and it's about your online success, your journey to online success despite the odds. And we know that since COVID-19, more persons have been working online than ever before. And we want you to tell us a little bit about your journey. But before you do, since this show has a little Caribbean flavor, we're going to ask you about your home country, Jamaica. What is something unique that you think persons should know about Jamaica?
Okay, so, wow, let's see. I mean, there's so many things that's unique to us, and I know countless people could just Google something. But one of the things that I find unique and something that I truly appreciate about Jamaica and being Jamaican is that we are heavy into using nature, using our food to heal our ailments. You know, the world is currently going through a pandemic. And surprisingly, you would seem to think that people in Jamaica are not worried about this virus. And you might think to yourself, well, you know, why are these people being stupid? Are these people not realizing that the world is suffering? Are they not realizing that so many people are dying? And the answer to that is, it's not that we're silly or stupid. It's not that we don't know what is happening. It's just that we believe that the earth has everything that we need to live. We believe in our herbs. We believe in the natural healing oils, the healing medicines, whatever God or Yeshua or whatever you want to call our creator, but whatever our creator has put on this earth, many Jamaicans believe that this is how we will be healed and this is how we will fight and protect our bodies against COVID-19.
That is so interesting. It is true, because just the other day, I took some young people back to my hometown in St. Mary, and my grandmother and uncle were showing them all kind of bushes that is good for this and good for that. So it is true. We tend to believe that we have the herbs and the medicine to heal all kinds of diseases. Mm-hmm. So that is so true. So Raquel, tell us a little bit about your journey to online success. What exactly made you transition to work online?
Okay, so my journey into the online world really began in 2009. And surprisingly, there was no pandemic at that time, of course, but I was pushed into the online world, having been, I don't want to say laid off, but I was on contract and my contract was not renewed. And so before, maybe about 2 months before my contract was not renewed, someone had introduced me to Odesk, now called Upwork. And, that is where it began. At first, I had the job, so I wasn't thinking much of it. But when I now suddenly found myself out of work and I was like, oh my God, how am I going to survive right now? What am I going to do? That is what that is what kept me going for the time I dipped my feet into working online. And it's really similar to how many people have been forced to work online now, because I know not so much being laid off or not so much losing your contract, but it's just a combination of so many things that have forced people online. They've lost their contracts, they've been laid off, or they've lost their jobs. It's, the company is now saying 50% of you must work online. So in a sense, it's somewhat of a similar journey. It's just mine started over 10 years now.
Okay, so those listening, you can relate to Raquel because in a sense, she was forced to work online. So having gone online, what were you doing in this online space over 5 years ago? What were you doing when you said you were working online? It may not have been like how persons are just doing whatever they would have been doing in the office. No, they're trying to get that done online. What exactly were you doing when you said you were working online?
Okay, so when I just started, like when I just dipped my feet into working online in 2009, I didn't even choose for myself what I was going to do. It was the young lady, who is now a lawyer, by the way, who said, hey, this is the world that is out there. She said, perhaps you could do article writing because that is really popular and you can get paid. So I didn't even think that there was something else out there. I started out writing content, writing articles for people's websites, or I don't even know what most people use them for, but that is what I started out doing. Then, as time went by, I realized for me, content writing was not bringing in the cash that I wanted. It wasn't as consistent as I wanted it to be. And so I began to explore other options. And then I came upon personal assistant / virtual assistant. And that's when I really started to solidify myself in the online world.
Okay, so you started out as a content creator and then moved on. So how was that? You were doing that full time because you were laid off. So was that enough money to help you to make an income full time to take care of yourself? What was the pay like? How did you navigate that?
Okay, so to answer that question, let me give a quick timeline. So in 2009, when I started working as a content writer, the cash flow was pretty bad. I'm talking maybe $50 per month US. I forgot what the exchange rate was back then, but it certainly wasn't enough to hop on a plane and go to Bali. That being said, I got frustrated, and most of it was my fault, by the way. I was not doing the right things to really generate that kind of cash that I needed. So I went back to work in 2011, spent a year working with a small and medium-sized company, went back online as a personal assistant, When I started doing that, like right on full time, I was making about $100 per week. And this was me working 30 hours per week. So you can imagine that at that time I was earning about $3 an hour. Yeah, because it was about $90 per week. So I was earning like $3.60 per hour, which again, though decent at that time, it wasn't something that I would say could pay the bills. Fast forward to when I started to take things seriously and started to upgrade my skills and move into now where I'm at as an email marketing expert, digital marketer. This is when I really started to see an increase in my earnings. This is where I really started to see $1,000 months, $2,000 months. This is where I started to see, clients that were willing to pay me $20 and $25 an hour, sometimes, even more. This is where I would say working online changed for the best, when I really decided to hone in on the email marketing aspect of online opportunities.
Interesting. And we know that email marketing is the foundation of your success online, because you really don't own your space on Facebook. You don't own your space on the other social media platforms. You can, for some reason, just lose your account. But once you have email, then at least you have a way to stay in touch with your clients. And so we're seeing that in the beginning, like with most things, you didn't start out as success, but after a while you started seeing the returns. So tell us, what exactly was the difference between what you did, apart from changing the area of specialization from creating content to now be in the marketing space with email marketing? What exactly did you do? What platform did you work on? What were some of the steps that you took to improve your success, so that those listening could have a kind of model and a guide as to know what to do?
Okay, so I focus on offering my services exclusively on Upwork. I used to do Fiverr, and I started out on Fiverr as a content writer. And I've also explored offering my skills as an email marketer, digital marketer on Fiverr as well. But it didn't get traction, and I did not pursue it because the Upwork model of an hour worked is an hour paid guaranteed fit more into my lifestyle. Now, when it comes to email marketing, it is so broad, and there's so many different parts to it. There's so many different things that you can offer. There are so many different platforms to use. You really have to specialize. I specialize in Infusionsoft, which is what people would say would be the creme de la creme of email marketing platforms. It is the most robust, in my opinion, email marketing platforms out there. There are others. A very close one that I also am skilled with is MoroPost. And I think really being skilled in those two programs, in those two platforms, has helped to position me in a way that I'm able to command a certain income in the online space. I have also learned how to use other skills. And I will say I've credited me being able to learn these different platforms to not being so hard and fast with my rates, to having an open mind for learning. Let me explain. So when I just started learning email marketing, I was offered a rate of, I believe it was $7 an hour. And the person was like, hey, this is an exceptional software. It is in high demand. I cannot pay you a lot, but I can give you a skill that you can use to earn way more than what we are paying you. So because I was open to learning, I accepted a lower rate than what I wanted in order to learn something that could benefit me in the long run. So that's kind of like a little tip as well for if you are beginning your journey online. I've seen where people start out asking for $40 an hour, and when I check out their profiles, they don't really have that much to offer. So being flexible with the knowledge that you're learning, something that you can gain from at a later date, is what will also help you to achieve the kind of success that I am seeing, and even success beyond what I am seeing.
Okay, so you're saying one of the things is that you are willing to start at a lower rate. You are willing to learn until you built up the experience. And so you experimented with Fiverr and then found that you were able to do better on Upwork. Okay.
Right.
So you would recommend Upwork to persons who are starting out. And of course, they need to have that teachable spirit.
Right. So I would say, and let me just say, I would recommend either Upwork or Fiverr. It really depends on the model that suits you best. Because, you know, I do know a couple of people that are crushing it on Fiverr, and they prefer more of a project-based gigs where you do this amount for this time, or you'll design one image for $5 or $10. Whereas I would be like, look, I'll write this email or upload this email to your automated platform, and that will be $10, $12, $15, whatever I charge per hour. So the three things that I would say is to choose a platform that works for you. It could be Upwork or Fiverr. Those are the two most popular ones. Be open to learning and being flexible with your rates, knowing that it can push you forward, and specializing, because really these are the three things that really pushed me forward.
Now let's talk a little bit more about some of the challenges in terms of your albinism. I know you've been diagnosed as being legally blind. What does that mean? Because if you're legally blind, how come you're sending out emails, and how did that condition affect your decision to work online?
Okay, so you know, a part of it, so let me go back in time to 2009 again, when I was working in a traditional government office. And at that time, because of my condition and I don't see well, when I am doing stuff on the computer, I have to either make the words larger or use a built-in magnifier. Anybody who has a Windows computer would know that, you know, there is a built-in magnifier. I'm not sure what it is on a Mac. And using that in the office, you tend to get jokes. You know, you tend to get teased. And they'll call it office banter. It'll be nothing. People laugh it off. But it is not exactly fun having to deal with that on a regular basis. Now, of course, when you have to deal with paper documents, if the words are smaller, either you're going to photocopy them to make it larger, or you're going to walk with a magnifying glass that I did and make it bigger. You could imagine that there are times, or if there's something handwritten, then I may have to ask another coworker for assistance or something like that. So you can imagine that mistakes happen. People are busy. They can't always help you out at the time. I remember working with the small and medium-sized company. They did signage, and they also had a party rentals arm to them. I remember making a huge mistake where I sent some equipment to the wrong location. And because it was so far apart from the right location, they could not make it. So the money was like, there was a huge loss because the people who went out had to be paid. The company had to be refunded, and that loss fell on me. And that was a mistake I made because, of my vision. So that things like that really pushed me to being online where I am at the computer. I know that I can make things as large as I need them to be without having anybody criticize me. I know that there are tons of ways to get around certain things, whether it is something that is too small or so, I could perhaps have it read. I know there are some programs where it can read what's on your screen. So there are tons of accessibility options available to me on the PC that's not really available in the traditional office, especially given a developing nation like Jamaica, where we sadly don't have the financial resources that, say, a country such as Canada would have. So that really is the main reason, like one of the main reasons why I went online. I realized it was easier to just work with my limitations, with my condition, using the accessibility options available to me without being judged, without people thinking whether you can do your job or not, because that is one of the questions that I had to deal with back in the day. I had to always be proving myself to my fellow colleagues. Like, they were like, can you do your job? Are you able to see? And all of that. So it was a constant, like I've got to constantly show them that, yes, I am able to do my job. And yes, I'm of value to this company.
Wow. And that is just so important. In Christianity, we would say that the ground is level at the foot of the cross, and it is. But in terms of the online world, the ground is level online.
Oh gosh.
It doesn't matter your degree. You don't need a degree. People don't even care about some of those things when you're working online. They just want to know if you can get the job done. Do you have the reviews? Because you do have a degree in human resource management, I believe, and you are not even using that right now to do the work that you are doing. So we want to say to persons, you just need to learn a skill, and once you've built up enough recommendations, referrals, reviews, then people will be willing to give you a chance. It doesn't matter what your color is, what your disability is. In the online space, that you just need to have a skill and just do your job, and people will hire you, and you can become successful.
Yeah.
But one final thing before
just a short correction, Ruth. So the degree is in management studies with a minor in human resource development. So just one tiny correction.
Okay, that's good. Well, it played out because when you're working online, you have to learn to manage your time well. But in terms of working online, there are many persons now who they're in the home, and the work, when you move from workplace to workspace, or your home becomes your work space and workplace, how do you manage that, and what advice would you give to those right now? Maybe they have children. What challenges did you have in brief, and what advice would you give them to ensure that as they move from the traditional workplace to working online, that they're able to use their home space well and become productive so that they can really earn a decent living like you are online?
Oh, wow. No, that is really the question, right? That's an excellent question because, so when I just started out, and this may or may not apply, and it will apply to some people, it won't apply to all. When I just started out, of course, we weren't going through a pandemic, so working from home was not seen as quote unquote normal. And I was the only person at home. Anybody else who was at home would have been people who were retired or people who did not have a job. So you can see how I was the odd person out. it got lonely at times. I remember, I guess I was maybe going into low-key depression because I was sad and sometimes crying, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and it was just crazy. It took some time adjusting. And I share that story because one of the things that I did to adjust was I painted my room. And I know it's something so simple, but it made a huge difference. If you are faced with loneliness as a challenge, so if you are a single person who used to go out to work, but now you're forced to work from home, maybe you can try making your environment, like changing your environment so that it makes you a little happier. One of the things that I did was I used to game, and as such, I would talk to my gamer friends while so I would talk to my gamer friends while I would talk to my gamer friends while I was working, but when I wasn't doing anything like super involved. So that's one thing. Another thing I would say is to, and this is not so much loneliness, if you have to work with kids, you're maybe going to have to find a time to work when the kids are sleeping or the kids are otherwise involved. Also try to find a designated place in your work, in your home to work, sorry, where you won't be disturbed. I know with younger kids, it might be a bit more challenging and depending on the type of work that you're doing. So if you can employ someone to watch the kids while you have to work, or if they can go to, if there are any care facilities open in your area and you can send them there, then that will help. It really is about managing your time and managing your space so that you are the most productive. Treat it like your 9 to 5, because if you do not, you're going to be in for a world of trouble.
Wow, thank you. I believe you have given us a ton of value and advice that is really relevant to the time, because we want to thank you, Raquel, for coming to share on the program. Where can we find out more about you and for persons who need help in terms of transitioning to this online space?
You will have to send me an email at info@thealbinomarketer.com. You can check out my website at thealbinomarketer.com. I'm also on Facebook as The Albino Marketer.
Thank you so much for coming, Raquel. And as we close out the show, we're going to ask you to put your hand over your heart and repeat or pledge to win. There's greatness in me. It's possible to live my dreams. No matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. With faith, courage, and consistent action, I'm going to make it. It's not over until I win. This is Ruth Taylor saying, ta for now, until next time.